Welcome back, everybody, to the showdown here again. Wednesday, February 6th, 2019. Kind of hard to believe. Yeah, 2019. Here we are on what has become a pretty gloomy and pretty. It's raining outside now. So we definitely we don't love to see that. Don't love to see the rain out there. But here, I mean, the weather these past 2 days was honestly such a tease, and like I really wasn't with that because like anytime it's like the beginning of November, excuse me, the beginning of February, and you get a day like that, you're thinking your mind just completely changes, like switches gears. You're thinking, oh, like it's late March, it's early April. Like yesterday, like the past 2 days, I was thinking about how long the semester actually is because the next time we might get that weather where it's like consistently that weather is, you know, end of March, beginning of April, hopefully. I mean, you have to remember last year we had that like huge blizzard in the beginning of March. So again, the weather the past 2 days it was nice while it lasted, but I'm not very hopeful that it will. It was a tease. It is basically what it was. And after the weather we had last week, I didn't really mind it. Obviously I'm never gonna mind warm temperatures like that, but I mean, how freaking cold was it? You walk outside and everything was just frozen up. It was absolutely, it was ridiculous. It was hard to move when you were outside. Like I had, so if, for those of you who don't know, like I lived kind of at the back of campus here, and I had class on the completely other side of campus, a night class, and like I had to walk. Usually I walk all the way across. Get my steps in. I'm pretty healthy lifestyle type of guy. But I was like, there's no way I'm gonna want to walk back at 9:30 at night in 5-degree weather. So I got lucky. I drove over there. I was able to get a spot, and we were rocking and rolling. Yeah, it's definitely nice to have a vehicle over here at school. It's pretty useful. Obviously, I need it. For those of you who don't know, I started an internship for in the district office of New York State Senator Shelley Mayer in the district office up in Port Chester, the 37th Senate district. So I've been there for just under a month. Interned 2 days a week, and it's been a very pleasurable experience. It's been a very good experience. I'm enjoying my time interning there at the district office. So, and that is why I do have my car here, so I can commute, so to speak, commute to interning 2 days out of the week. So that's kind of the state of affairs right now, if you will, for me. Women's basketball game tomorrow night. Iona versus, I believe they're playing Siena. I should probably figure that out considering I'm calling the game tomorrow. But yes, it is Siena. The Iona women's basketball team is home. They were on their road trip to the Buffalo schools this past weekend. So back here at the Heinz Center, myself and Matthew George will be on the call tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on ESPN Plus. So make sure you check that out. So going back to what I said I was going to talk about, if you guys are following the show, you guys know that, I obviously do my weekly NFL picks, and my final record for the season, including regular season and postseason this year, was 167 correct picks and even 100 incorrect picks. So, not as good as I did last year. I was actually 3 games better last year, but I will say this for myself. What I could have done, what it really is technically, because remember, we had those 2 tie games at the beginning of the season. I technically could say that I'm 167, 98, and 2, but I didn't do that because the way I saw it, when I was tallying up my regular season stats, if you will, I didn't get the pick correct. It was an incorrect pick. I picked a team to win, and that team did not win. That's kind of the way I saw it. So I wound up counting those as losses, and that gave me 167 and 100. If you contrast that to last year, I was 170 and 97. So, like I said, 3 games worse this season. But I feel like the NFL season this year, there was such parity within the league, and there was a lot of unpredictability. I think a lot of people, again, this really includes myself, thought that the Vikings were going to be a lot better than they were, that the Packers were going to be better. I don't think really that many people saw the Bears being as good as the Bears were. And I'm just talking the NFC. I don't think I didn't think the Chiefs were going to be as good without Alex Smith. I thought they were going to be good, but I mean, Patrick Mahomes, what can you say? MVP, totally deserved it. Again, I thought the Giants would be better. They absolutely stunk. This past semester and this past Giants season was really like the most I ever ranted or got on a team, like really ever before, just because of the high expectations that this team was given, and really just how brutally awful they played down the stretch, and not even down the stretch, the entire season. I remember their last regular season game against Dallas. I was screaming at my TV because they had started to play some decent football. Like they had that big blowout against the Redskins, and they had their fair share of blowouts. I mean, that game against the Titans was absolutely brutal, but they again, there's no moral victories in my opinion, but they did lose a lot of close games, but they lost those games for a reason. They were not the better team in really a lot of those games. So what really can you say? I mean, they were kind of right there with some of the better teams in the league. The Colts is the first one that comes to mind, especially in the second half of the season. I mean, I will give the Giants this. They did play. They were a different team post the bye. They were a little bit more competitive. They were in a couple of more games. Eli looked a little bit better. And I shouldn't be complaining. We got the 6th pick in the draft. And these next coming weeks, we will focus a lot on the NFL draft. I don't think there's as much to talk about as there was a year ago around this time, just because of the quarterbacks who were coming out, the dominance that, the prospect that Barkley was going to be as great of a player as he wound up being, at least for this season. I mean, Rookie of the Year, absolutely deserved it in my opinion. Again, and that's not even, maybe there's a little bit of like New York Giants bias from me on that, but this is the way I see it. And I heard this argument once on TV, and it really kind of resonated with me. After this season, during this season, and at the conclusion of the regular season, Saquon Barkley was, I think, undoubtedly a top 5. You could even make that argument a top 3 running back this season, just across the board. I'm not talking rookies. I'm talking just running backs in the National Football League. He was definitely top 5. You can make an argument that he was a top 3 running back this season. I think you can make that argument. Baker Mayfield was not a top 5 quarterback this season. Yes, he obviously had the best, the best season out of all the other rookie quarterbacks, but I don't think that he deserved Rookie of the Year. I think any other year he probably wins it, but I think the dominance that Saquon did and just really, he came right into this league and made an impact. I mean, we all saw it the first game of the season when he broke for 60 plus, I think it was 60 plus yards against the Jaguars, that long touchdown run. That is what he is capable of, and that is what he brings to the New York Football Giants. And as a fan, you absolutely love to see that. You love to see, the team you're a fan of, even in a very down year, a very tough year to watch as a fan. He was that bright spot, and he, hopefully will continue to be a bright spot for this team going forward. But again, in terms of the Giants, an interesting place will there be, what do they do is basically a lot of what this, the dialogue will be like here in New York, surrounding the Giants until draft time. I mean, do they take a Dwayne Haskins? Do they draft Dwayne Haskins? Because I think that's the only quarterback that, as a fan, that you're drafting with the 6th pick. You're taking Dwayne Haskins or you're taking nobody else from quarterback. I don't think the rest of the quarterbacks in this draft have the talent. I mean, Obviously, Kyler Murray, if we should be expecting an announcement in a couple of days, maybe weeks, to see if he will be going to the combine. But even if he was available, I don't think I wouldn't want to take him just because the liability of is as hard even in football. But that obviously will be a conversation to be had in the coming weeks as the NFL draft approaches. I mean, a lot of the draft talk will be going on, but the Giants with that 6th pick, what do they do? It should be very very interesting to see what they wind up doing, and I'm sure we will criticize them or praise them for it. But yeah, Giants, all in all, the season they had stunk. And the window's closed. I mean, if Eli Manning is going to be back next year, I think that's it. I think next year's got to be the last year for Eli Manning, because, and this kind of goes into, do they draft a quarterback? Come to the 2020 draft, more than likely, Tua Tagovailoa will be coming out. Jake Fromm will be coming out. And the guy out of, I think, Herbert or whatever out of Oregon will be coming out. And obviously those are some pretty viable prospects. Again, keyword there is prospects, but we will have to wait and see. But we'll definitely have your Giants talk and draft talk over the next couple of weeks and months as we head towards the NFL draft. So yeah, guys, 167 and 100 on the season. Again, would have liked to done a little bit better, especially in the playoffs. It's just like players. You want to play your best in the playoffs. I want to pick my best come postseason time. But at least we got the Super Bowl. So we will step aside and take another break. When we come back, I'll be talking a little bit about the MLB offseason, and we'll try to discuss why exactly it is February 6th and Manny Machado and Bryce Harper still are teamless. We'll take a break. Back after this.